Hi everyone. Just wanted to do this quick video on the difference between bacteria and virus. Everyone is hassled by COVID and everyone knows that COVID is being caused by a virus. I had a very simple question coming in from someone in the family asking me what is the basic difference between a bacteria and virus. I tried to explain that because this difference was known to me, and being in pharma, this is something that I understood well. And I answered that to the satisfaction. However, I was not satisfied with this answer, and I tried to really look back at explaining to a layman what is the difference between the bacteria and virus. So let's start with what is the critical difference between a bacteria and virus. First, let me define what a bacteria is. So bacteria is relatively a complex single-cell creature. So when we mean by creature, what do you mean? It's a living organism. It's an organism that can reproduce itself, it can grow, it can independently exist like various class of other living organisms are. Humans, animals, trees, they are all living and they can grow and they can reproduce. So this is the classical definition of what a bacteria is. It's a single cell creature. The classical differentiation is that when the environment is favorable, they can reproduce. The major point that we need to realize that not all bacteria are harmful. I think only one of the reports on the net talked about only 1% of the bacteria can cause disease. So that thereby 99% of the bacteria that are found all over, they probably help you. So they sometimes help in digestion, they help in maintaining the gut wall, they help the skin staying healthy. So there are multiple positive benefits of a bacteria, but yeah, 1% of them cause certain disease. Now let's talk about viruses. Viruses are basically non-living organisms. That is, that they don't grow on their own, they don't reproduce on their own. They are nothing but simple protein structures which contain DNA and RNA. DNA and RNA strands are like genetic material. They are some programs that are enclosed in a protein capsule. Viruses cannot reproduce on their own. They cannot survive without a host, and they can only reproduce by attaching them to cell. What does this mean? It means that this protein structure, which is a non-living structure, which contains a program, a genetic code that travels to any of the cell in the body. They enter the cell, that genetic code or the genetic program is delivered onto the nucleus of the cell, and then they start telling that nucleus to produce multiple such viral programs. So it makes copies and then it bursts that cell, or those program copies leave the cell and infect some other cell, and they may then be transmitted from one individual to another. So once they enter the host cell, they reprogram that host cell to make multiple copies of the same virus and thereby infecting many other cells. So unlike bacteria, most viruses cause disease. They basically attack the cell and they hijack the cell from doing its function, and they start making the cell only reproduce more of these viruses, and in certain cases they can turn the cell into a carcinogenic cell or cause certain other diseases also. So almost all the viruses form or cause disease and cause trouble. So after we've understood the virus, I want you all to remember these 4 differences between a bacteria and a virus. A virus is a non-living organism, a bacteria is a living organism. Viruses are submicroscopic. That means this one single virus can be represented by this small red dot on the bacteria. So compared to a virus, bacteria are huge. Okay, they are very big. They are only protein material containing an RNA or a DNA strand, which is a genetic program. Whereas a bacteria is a single cell complex organism. It has got multiple different organelles inside that work, like the nucleus, the cytoplasm, the ribosomes. There are many things that happen and they can independently exist. The second most important difference is reproduction. Viruses cannot reproduce on their own. They need a host cell, and they enter the host cell, and the host cell then gives out multiple viral strands out. Whereas a bacteria on its own, when the environment is favorable, reproduce from one cell to 2 cells and thereby continues this growth. The third point of difference is that the infections. Viruses, most of them are harmful. All of them will cause infections. Common infections, we know that everyone is talking about Covid19, herpes zoster, HIV, influenza, common cold. These are classical diseases or infections caused by the virus. Whereas bacteria, only a small percent of them are harmful. They cause localized infections, and tuberculosis, urinary tract infections, diphtheria, tetanus. These are some examples of bacterial infection. And the final difference is how are they treated? Viruses cannot be treated actually. The body has to treat itself. We can just prevent it. How we can prevent it? We can use certain vaccines, and there are a group of drugs known as the antiretrovirals. These antiretrovirals are drugs that help build resistance towards making these copies. So if we give these antiretrovirals, it will prevent the cell from making more copies of the infection, or prevent the protein material being delivered to the nucleus. It prevents the hijacking of the cell. So it basically strengthens the host cell from the viral entry. So there are multiple levels these antiretrovirals work. But there is no way of killing the virus. The virus has to die on its own. That means the protein cover has to degenerate. The virus should not reach the host cell. This is all that we can do. Whereas bacteria definitely can be treated. There are a huge number of antibiotics that are available to treat bacteria. And this is the difference why I wanted to talk about, because COVID, it's caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus. Common symptoms that we get are fever, dry cough and tiredness. Best prevented by social distancing. As currently no vaccines are available or any specific treatment available. It spreads through personal contact, through sneezing and coughing. So wearing a mask, maintaining social distance becomes absolutely critical. And the next best thing that you can do is your body has to fight the infection. So it's important to build your immunity. Even if you acquire it, your body's immunity needs to be strong to clear it. So if you keep these things in mind, it probably helps you maintain better awareness about what viral infections are and protect yourself. I hope you liked my video. Please subscribe to my channel and keep watching. Thank you very much.